So we are excited to cover the technical assistance plan and work plan that your cohort, the capacity building cohort for Elevate Youth California, will be completing shortly. And so again, this webinar is being recorded. The webinar recording as well as the slides will be available on the website under the resources tab, and we'll send out an email once it's updated on the website as well. We're going to be pausing a number of times throughout the webinar to go ahead and ask for or to answer any questions. And so we just are asking you all to keep it pertinent to the topics that we're covering. So we'll cover the work plan first and then the technical assistance plan. And I know that you might have a number of other questions, and one probably outstanding question is many of you haven't received your grant agreements or your agreements. And so we want to let you know that those are on their way. And you'll be receiving those in the next few weeks, or hopefully, or we anticipate they'll be definitely within the next few weeks and hopefully sooner than that. But I'm going to say a few weeks, so that way, if it does take a little bit longer than a week, no one is kind of panicking or anxious to receive those. So we apologize for the delay on that end, and I hope that clears that question, and so we can focus more so on the technical assistance plan and work plan today. Again, we'll pause a number of times. You're more than welcome to drop questions in the Q&A aspect of this webinar, so you'll see on the bottom, or the chat itself. And if you have any questions that you feel like you need to elaborate on further, just feel free to raise your hand. So you are more than welcome to utilize those functions. I do see a question about, can you repeat that? I'm guessing that is about the grant agreements. Yes, they will be coming. They're still on their way. We have a new process here at the center, and so it's what's kind of causing the delay a little bit. And so we just wanted to go ahead and let you know that they will be coming in the next few weeks. So hopefully we get them over to you within the next week. But if you don't get them by September, believe me, you'll get an email from me before that. And so again, we're super excited to go ahead and start our first webinar with you all. And so again, welcome to Elevate Youth California Technical Assistance Plan and Work Plan webinar. We're excited to cover both of these plans with you all. Brianna, next slide. And again, feel free to reach out or ask any questions over the chat function, the Q&A function. We're more than happy to answer questions there and to pause. And if you want to elaborate further, please do raise or click the raise hand button to go ahead and for us to know that you would like to share something, because right now everyone is muted, so you won't have the opportunity to go ahead and unmute yourself there. And this is a session that is meant to be interactive, so if you have any questions, please ask them. We want to make sure that this is a place where you feel safe to answer all those questions. There are no dumb questions or anything of that sort. You might think, oh, well, like this, I should probably get this or whatever, and I probably just missed it, so I'll wait for the recording to re-listen to this. No, this is a place where you can ask those questions and pause us. We want to make sure that by the time this webinar is completed, you do understand all of the different aspects of both of these plans. Next slide. So just really quickly, I'll give an opportunity for all of us to introduce ourselves. My name is Balvinder Gaur. I'm the program officer with Elevate Youth California here at the center at Sierra Health Foundation. Quite a mouthful, but we're super excited to be, the day-to-day team and leading the day-to-day team on Elevate Youth California. Currently, we have 3 cohorts: Cohort 1, Cohort 2, and you all, who are our newest capacity building and our first capacity building cohort. We also have Matt Cervantes, who's not on this call. He's a managing director of Healthy Youth Development Programs and helps support our program, Elevate Youth California. And I'll go ahead and pass it on to Andrew.
Thanks, Balvinder. Hi, everyone. My name is Andrew Hall. I'm the program associate for the Elevate Youth California team, and I'm just excited to be working with you all. I'll pass it to Latajane.
Thanks, Andrew. Good morning, everyone. My name is Latajane Hall, and I'm the program assistant for the Elevate Youth team. Really excited to work with all of you, answer any questions, provide any support, and really just get to know all of you and your programs and organizations. So On that note, I'll go ahead and pass it over to our evaluation team.
Hi everyone, I'm Noemi Avalos, Evaluation Officer at Sierra Health Foundation and the Center. I'm happy to be here with you all. Thank you. Brianna.
And I'm Brianna Mattis, the Evaluation Associate at the Sierra Health Foundation and the Center. So I'm excited to speak with y'all today.
Awesome. Thank you all. And later today, you'll probably get an email from us about some communication guidelines and the press release and all of that. So we do have that information. And so, Katie Passini and Samantha Garcia are also a part of our communications team here at the center, and they'll be working with you all too. And for those of you who joined the grantee orientation webinar or watched it, you had an opportunity to hear from Samantha directly there. So today we're excited to be sharing, just went over the welcome. We'll again, feel free to drop your name, your organization, the location that you're at in the chat so others know as well. We encourage you to also view the website and see the various partners from from this capacity building cohort, as well as previously funded partners in cohort 1 and cohort 2 as well. It's always great to connect and learn, and we're going to be providing a number of opportunities over the next 2 years for you all to connect as well. So today we'll be covering an overview of different aspects of the grant requirements. So we'll be covering 2 pieces, primarily the work plan and the technical assistance plan, and then discussing the process for report submission. Next slide. And so, just a friendly reminder that, again, as we shared on the grantee orientation, the capacity building cohort is an opportunity to build the capacity and to build effective and sustainable programs and practices for substance use disorder prevention. It's a little bit different, your requirements, than the standard track. There's a current RFA out, if you saw that. Unfortunately, you're ineligible to apply, which is, on one aspect, it's great because you're awarded already an Elevate Youth California grant. And so we want to be, very mindful and transparent that we will be having 3 different tracks, and the intentions and purpose of each of those tracks is a little bit different. So one of the main differences between the standard track and your cohort currently is the policy and systems change work that the standard track is required to do. And so for your track, we wanted to specifically focus on building your capacity, to enhance your capacity building and to ensure that we have effective and sustainable programs. And so our hope is that by the end of these 2 years, you'll be more competitive for a standard track Elevate Youth grant. So, while you may not be thinking about 2023, or maybe you already are, we're hoping that, you would look to reapply or to apply for that standard track, and we would be building your capacity over these next 2 years to make you all a bit more competitive there. And I just wanted to say again, congratulations for being selected a part of our capacity building cohort. We received 105 applications. And as you see, we are only able to fund 18 organizations. And so we wish we had more money to fund more organizations who are doing such incredible work. But it is a very competitive process, and we just want you to take some time as well to celebrate this win. It really is great to be working with all of you, and we're excited for this partnership over the next 2 years. And, as I mentioned in regards, next slide, please. In regards to the implementation strategies, for the standard track, their requirement is for policy systems and environmental change. And we really want to focus just on building your capacity, whether that's through direct capacity building efforts of training and technical assistance, or through a program itself with youth. And so in regards to your program, you are required to, have some sort of, or look at having youth participation with either mentorship or relationship building or peer-led support and leadership programs, or even both. And so you'll notice that this is, again, as I mentioned, a bit different. So if you are connecting with any of the cohort 1 and cohort 2 partners, and you're like, whoa, their program is like looking at advocacy and policy change, do we need to do that? The answer is no, you're not required. Again, we want to really look at building your capacity, and you'll see that through these next 2 plans that we're going to be covering, the work plan and the technical assistance plan, that will be highlighting exactly what you're looking to do. So your goals, your objectives, your activities over these next 2 years. And so I am excited to now pass it over to our evaluation team, Noemi and Brianna, to go ahead and lead us through the work plan.
Thank you, Palvinder. And before I go over the work plan, I would like to know how comfortable you are in writing SMART goals or objectives. We have a poll for you. Brianna, if you could pull that up, please. It seems most of you are somewhat comfortable writing SMART goals and objectives. Let's just wait a couple more seconds. Okay, so yeah, about half of you are somewhat comfortable and some of you are very comfortable. And so thank you for sharing that. Again, as Palvinder mentioned, this is the space for us to learn more about how to write these type of objectives and goals. The work plan has 3 components. The first one is going to ask you some questions about your organization and the project information. Then the second section is going to ask you to write objectives related to that project. And the third section is going to ask you to write objectives related to your capacity building efforts. I'm going to, if Brianna, we could stop sharing the presentation to switch to the work plan example. And I can share the work plan. Can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. This is an example of the work plan, and we will be sharing it with you after this training, and then we will be providing the work plan template where you can use to do yours. The first section, again, is about the organization and project information. It asks for your organization name. In this example, that is the Youth Empowerment Center for the grant period. Then it asks for the priority area of the population your project focuses on. In this example is LGBTQ2S+ youth of color, ages 12 to 26, with a focus on low-income and homeless youth in Sacramento County. Next is a brief problem statement. In this example, that is LGBTQ2S+ youth of color at a greater risk of experiencing negative impacts of substance use disorders. The contributing factors, what is causing the issue? In this example, the factors are poor social support, reduced access to gender-conforming medical care, and higher risk of homelessness or unstable housing, which may lead to an increased likelihood of using harmful substances. It then asks you to state your overall project goal. This is a comprehensive goal that you aim to achieve over the course of the grant period. And it should be written in a SMART format, which is defined under the objectives here. And Brianna is going to go over that in a moment. In this example, the overall project goal is to reduce the past 30-day substance use by LGBTQ2S+ youth ages 12 to 26 in Sacramento County by 3% from 43.7% to 40.7% by August of 2023. Again, the second section of the work plan is going to have this table where you are going to be writing your programmatic objectives. Now, some things to considerations when writing your objectives. The objectives are statements of the major accomplishments that you expect to achieve within the identified time frame. And we'll go over examples of those. Objectives should be related to the contributing factors. And we ask that you limit your plans to 2 to 4 objectives that are essential for achieving your project goals. In this example, again, the overall program goal was to reduce substance use. So how that is going to be achieved? Well, one of the contributing factors was for social support. So how can we address the contributing factor? One way, as specified in this objective, is to increase the leadership, decision-making, and social skills. Let's read the objective. At the conclusion of the program, at least 80% of the participants will have an increase from baseline in leadership, decision-making, and social skills by August 20 of 2022. After you have identified the objective, then the next step is to identify and write those project activities that will support the objective, as well as for each activity that you identify, to also state the responsible staff or partner for each activity, and also the timeline, the start date for the activity and the end date. In this example, the activities are to recruit and train 10 peer mentors, to outreach and recruit 30 program youth, then to connect the program youth to peer mentors, to hold bi-weekly mentoring sections with peer youth, mentors and mentees, and to hold 6 monthly trainings for program youth on relevant topics, which of course in this example will include topics, will include leadership as one of the topics. And then it has identified that the project lead will be responsible for the activities 1 to 3, and then for holding bi-weekly mentoring sessions, peer mentors and the project lead are those responsible for that activity. And then for number 5, the peer mentors, the coordinator, and the project lead are responsible for the activity, and then the start and end date. The next section is very similar. It's again writing objectives, but in this case, we're asking you to write objectives related to your capacity building efforts. You will be identifying the areas where you need to increase your capacity, and then writing objectives. What you would like to achieve, what change in your capacity building. And so similar to objectives for programmatic objectives, capacity building objectives are written in a similar way. And again, we're going to go over some of those examples. In the bottom of this example document, we have provided some capacity building activities that are supported by this funding opportunity. For example, fund development, creating and beginning to implement a fund development plan, program evaluation, training and resources, including technology upgrades to track youth. or training on related content, such as trauma-informed organizational practices, policy or grassroots organizing trainings, partnership development, particularly within the education sector and with non-traditional partners. Again, these are examples of some capacity buildings, but not all of them. I'll stop sharing this document, and if we can go back to the presentation. And next slide, we went over them. Again, the goal is the main overall aim, and the objectives are the elements that together achieve the goal. Next slide. And again, in the example that I provided, it was to reduce substance use. And Brianna is now going to go over how to write those SMART objectives and goals.
Thanks, Noemi. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about what it means to make sure that the objectives that are included on your work plan are written in the SMART format. So the kind of components of this, and like we saw in the poll, some of you guys, or most of you guys, are somewhat comfortable with writing SMART objectives. So we hope that after this, kind of going through this and some examples, that you'll see what we mean when we say having SMART objectives, and that they can improve the quality of your objectives. So the 5 components would be ensuring that the objectives are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So let's go through these. The first part would be specific. So ensuring that the objective highlights the specific change you're hoping to see, and specifically who will be involved in that change. So as you saw in the work plan, we had those responsible partners or responsible parties for each objective and for each kind of activity. The next component would be measurable. So identifying exactly how much of a change you're hoping to see, specifying how many, maybe how many youth you're hoping to reach, or how many staff the change will, the objective will be targeting, those kind of things, and how will you know when it's accomplished. So ensuring that there is a specific way to measure how the objective, if the objective has been achieved or not. Next, for achievable, we hope that all of your objectives are, of course, realistic and kind of broad, and are something that can be attained within the grant period. So we're hoping that they are achievable, of course. So like in the example, the percent of change that we saw in the overall program goal was from about 43% to 40%, rather than stating something really dramatic that we don't anticipate to be seen in a few years, something from like 40 to like 0%. That's not achievable. So that's another kind of example of how we can ensure that the objectives are achievable. The next component would be relevant, making sure that the objectives are all feeding into that overall project goal, and that they're all kind of relevant components to that overall goal. So that's why we ask that you only have 2 to 4 to ensure that those are all relevant components to the overall goal. And finally, ensuring that they're time bound, using a timeline or a time frame to specifically state when you hope the objective to be achieved by. So next, we are going to show a couple of examples, and we'll ask for you to kind of weigh in on how we can make this objective more SMART, or more specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So the first example would be to reduce the yearly number of school suspensions or expulsion of youth participants due to possession or use of a controlled substance by December 2022. So we can ask you to raise your hand or to write in the chat on how we can make this objective more SMART. Yeah, so one comment would be that it needs to have a specific number of youth to identify how much, to add a number of students. Yeah, those are all correct. So we can see in the next slide, we have what that would look like. So exactly, including exactly how many suspensions we're hoping to see. And that was just one example and one way that we made this objective a little bit more SMART. So the number of suspensions from 61 suspensions in the 2019 to 2020 school year to less than 40 suspensions. And for the next example, young adult program participants will increase utilization of healthy coping mechanisms instead of substance use in response to challenges by 2022. So what are some ways that we can make this second example more SMART? Once again, standing for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And once again, you could either raise your hand or write those answers in the chat. Okay, so to include how much of an increase that we saw, to add a percentage or number of youth, to add the age of youth and how much the increase will be seen by. Yeah, so in ways to make it more specific. So we included how the percentage of participants we're hoping to see this increase in, so that's 85%, as well as making it time bound, so including by December 30th, 2022. So those were the first two examples, and I'll pass it to Noemi to do the second two.
Thank you, Brianna. And I saw that some of you also suggested that percent that it would change, so that will even make it more SMART, these objectives that we go over. In this example, says Latino Center Connect staff will have increased capacity to ensure the organizational practices are trauma informed. This is an objective more related to the capacity building. How can we make it more SMART? And again, you can comment in the chat. How can it be more specific? How much? And by what day? Yes. Define capacity. Yes. Yes, so if some of you said by when, so yeah, by adding by that date, by March 30th of 2022, and some of you said define capacity. So we added as evidence by the establishment of at least 3 organizational policies. So that specifies more the change that you will, how that change will look like of an increased capacity. Next example, Latino Center Connect staff will improve their fundraising efforts by consulting a fund developer by January 2022. How can we make it more smart? What will the fund developer do? Yes, that will make it more specific. The changes needed, yes. What measurement defines improvement? Yes, if we go to the next slide, we did specify what the developer will do. So the Latino Center Connect staff will improve their fundraising efforts by consulting a fund developer to assist in the creation of a 3-year fund development plan by January 2022. So the creation of that 3-year fund development plan is a change that we will hope to see, and that will be the evidence of that the staff has now increased capacity for fundraising efforts. I believe this has concluded the examples for SMART objectives, so we will pass it to the program team. But first, do you have any questions about writing SMART goals and objectives, a work plan? Feel free to drop them in the chat. It seems like you were providing very helpful feedback on how to write this SMART objectives. So it seems like you got this. And again, we're here. If you would like additional examples, let us know, and we are happy to provide those. Okay, if we don't have any more questions, at the end, we will also have another opportunity for you to ask questions. So for now, we will pass it to the program team.
Thanks so much, Noemi and Brianna. And as Noemi shared, it was great to see the interaction on the chat. We're quite excited. You know, it doesn't seem that you need much support on your work plan and technical assistance plan, but we'll cover this. And of course, as Noemi mentioned, if you have any questions at any point, feel free to send us an email. We'll go ahead and get you that support. And whether it's, you know, jumping on a call real quick to just discuss something, or if you wanted to go ahead and share some draft versions before you have it finalized, we're more than happy to do that. And so I just wanted to also pause for a moment and go ahead and just share in regards to, you know, we try to make this, try to make it very clear in our relationship and our purpose as the Elevate Youth California contract coordinator with the Department of Healthcare Services. Our goal and our objective here at the center is really to make sure that we're providing the support and assistance that you all need to continue the amazing work that you all are doing. And so, you know, in other grants, you know, it might look a little bit different, but we wanted to share that we do expect and hope to have an open and honest relationship with you all in regards to, you know, hiccups that occur, things that are going great, lessons you've learned, whatever it is. We want to make sure that we're in constant communication, we're able to provide the support that you need. And if there are changes in your work plan or in the work that you've outlined when you applied, we're more than happy to see how we can adjust that and ensure that you all are doing what you feel is best to continue for the success of your program. And so I know that there's a question right now, are there any assistants in HR such as job description? You know, again, I encourage you to go ahead and write this, and I'll probably cover a little bit in the technical assistance action plan about this. And so we invite you to share any specifics that you're looking for, all of that, and ensuring that you have the exact support and technical assistance that you like. So if HR is an area that you're looking to expand on and build further capacity, we're more than happy to help. And you know, we don't have any limitations on what constitutes for capacity building. And if we can't do it here at the center, we'll be looking to contract for technical assistance providers to making sure that you all have that support. And so that'll go into kind of this next question and or this next aspect of the technical assistance plan, but I'm going to pause again because I see another question about the grant agreement or the contract. And so, oh, thanks, Latajane, for asking and for answering that. Yes, again, grant agreements will be going out in the next few weeks. We're hoping to get those out to you within the next week. We've just had some delays with the new system that our team is using here and the center is shifting to. So again, thank you for your patience on that. Again, all contracts will be backdated to August 16th, so last month. And I can assure you that even though payment is deliverable upon the execution of the contract, we have not received funds yet for this from the state. So even if we get your contract fully or your grant agreement fully executed, we won't be able to make that payment until we get it from them. So our hope is to secure that payment while at the same time securing the execution of your grant agreement. So we'll be getting those out to you again within the upcoming few weeks. So apologies on the delay there. And so now we're going to jump into the Elevate Youth California Technical Assistance Plan. This slide shows a version of that. And so we want we'll be sharing both the technical assistance plan and the work plan later today, if not by tomorrow morning. And so you'll have that in your inbox. We want to make sure that we utilize this time by engaging and kind of covering what to expect in it. And then we'll be looking at essentially sharing that with you all to go ahead and complete by the end of the month. And so next slide. So the first aspect of this is, you'll see that the technical assistance plan directly builds upon the work plan. So the first few are questions. And as I've mentioned earlier, in regards to being able to provide support to each of your organizations, we're really looking at this as a partnership and a true partnership. And what that means is, you're being very honest about where you stand as an organization and the capacity building efforts that you're looking to achieve over these next 2 years. And if something has changed from when you applied to now, or something changes in 6 months, we are more than happy to go ahead and discuss the changes to your work plan, to your technical assistance plan, to see how we can support you in that moment. We know those who are doing the work on the ground, things change and they're constantly fluid. And so we want to be able to respect that. And we do understand that. And so you're not going to be penalized in any sort of way if you're like, hey, we had set out to achieve these goals and objectives and we're not able to. What we rather do is work with you to see how we can shift those goals and objectives to make them realistic and attainable. And so the first few questions that we ask on the technical assistance plan is, what strengths does your organizations have relevant to this work? And, the answers are endless, whether it's around your capacity building work, whether it's around, it's again, relating to the work plan that you have and the objectives you have there. But, if you're really focusing on those capacity building efforts, and we want you to include what strengths you have there. And then if you're looking at the youth programming aspects, we want you to include the strengths there too. Don't be shy. We really want to, as the next question asks, is there expertise that you can provide to other funded partners from these strengths? We're really looking to build a network of those who are engaging in doing work around substance use prevention and social justice youth development. I love this funding opportunity because it's so broad. Social justice youth development has so many different aspects to it. And this in Proposition 64 in this funding stream, really broadens the definition of substance use disorder prevention. And so it's not the traditional cessation programs or zero tolerance programs or kind of those sorts of goals. It's really thinking about how do we meet young people where they're at to be able to address substance use disorder. And so, there's the prevention aspect, there's the education aspect. So there's various points where you can be interacting with young people. Again, priority is for those 12 to 26. And so we're really looking to see how all of that you've learned over the years of working with young folks, how we can go ahead and share that knowledge with others who are part of the cohort. And I can assure you that each of you has something to share. You know, don't be shy. Again, you might be thinking, oh, like, I don't know if I want to share, you know, add more time to my calendar or, you know, my workload and sharing this. But I encourage you that the best, you know, this is really helpful for us because you are the ones who are doing this on the ground. We can bring in folks who are providing technical assistance in various ways, but you're doing this in real time. And there's going to be things that you've learned that others would really benefit from. And we're looking to foster that space here. And then this goes into kind of that last question here in this technical assistance plan. What are the gaps and challenges that your organization has or anticipate relevant to this work? And so again, you know, really looking and being honest with yourselves around the gaps and challenges. We're here again to try to fill in these gaps, to provide resources for these challenges, to work through the challenges and see how we can best support you, whether that's through, you know, direct resources in regards to job descriptions or HR trainings. You know, there's other aspects around it in regards to best practices with engaging youth. I mean, our cohort 1 partners who started at the start of the pandemic last March, they've been having, you know, a roller coaster ride with youth engagement. And so they've been able to learn from one another as well. And so we're really looking to see how we can do that. And so it might be, again, resources that we already have lined up. It might be technical assistance sessions and webinars or trainings that we provide or that we link you to. And so we're more than happy, again, to be able to make sure that we're supporting you in the ways that you need to. So in order to do that, we do need you to you know, adequately and accurately complete both your work plan and your technical assistance plan. And again, in no way is this are we looking at this in a sort of, we're looking at this as like a strengths-based or an asset-based program of how do we build upon the amazing strengths and work that you're already doing to further it. And so next slide. So after you answer all these 3 questions, you'll go into building upon the capacity building objectives that you outlined in your work plan. So you'll pull this first section, the top highlighted portion that says capacity building objective 1, you'll go ahead and pull that directly. So you'll insert in the first row, second column, the objective that you had listed in your work plan. You'll list in the next portion on the next row, you'll list who's going to be involved in your on this aspect to achieve this objective, when you expect to complete it, and then we'll hold off on this and kind of be able to see when you have completed it. And then, you know, again, to kind of break this down, and I do this and our team does this as well in regards to goals that we have. You know, if we're looking at goals that we have for the next year, we try to break it down by each quarter and what steps are going to be needed to be able to achieve this. And so, you know, then you would further break down if you're looking at one of those capacity building objectives, you'll then break it down by step 1, step 2, step 3. You know, again, if this is, and I'm going to go ahead and take this question related to HR. So if it's about enhancing your HR job descriptions or are being able to figure out the direct roles that you need and all of that. So, you know, 1 would be probably an analysis of what needs you have. 2 would probably be finding some job descriptions and figuring out, you know, working those out to tweak them to make sure that they're relevant to your organization and they're relevant to the work that you're doing. And the 3rd step would be, of course, implementing them and then potentially even adding another step. And you're more than welcome to add in additional rows if you feel like there are more steps than you need, And so, you know, again, being able to also circle back to see if you need to change them, to evaluate that, to make sure that they're the best fit as well. So I always like to add in some sort of component that comes back in for evaluation or to make sure that it's working. And so, you know, and again, for each of these steps, you would write an expected completion date as well. You'll go ahead and submit a Word document version just so that way it's editable. And I always encourage folks to always, at least with us, to share your Word document. Because if we have that on file and say for some reason there's some turnover at your organization, which we see often in these spaces, or if you can't find it, if you sent us a Word version of it, then we'll be able to probably share that back with you. And if you shared a PDF version, well, hopefully you have a system to go ahead and convert it back to a Word document, or you'll have to copy and paste. And so, again, I always encourage folks, we're not looking to go ahead and take this information in any other sort of way. And so we do encourage you in both the work plan as well as the TA plan to be able to share those live editable versions with us. And the other reason, and kind of dive in this to a little bit at the end about submission, is in making these changes and providing feedback, we can go ahead and directly make those comments and notes on the document itself. But again, multiple reasons to do that. And so we encourage you to do that. And then the last aspect of this, for each objective, you'll be listing how could the center support you in achieving this objective. So whether it's content expertise, training, peer learning, research tools, one-on-one or small group discussions, be honest with us and let us know. And if you're not sure, go ahead and share that as well. And if you're open to whatever means, that's totally fine too. But this is an opportunity for you to directly let us know exactly what sort of support you're looking for and what ways you're looking for that support. And this allows us to also work around making sure we have that support done in a better way that meets your organization's needs. And so instead of guessing from our end of, someone needs technical assistance on HR or job descriptions and, just sharing some job descriptions with you, it'll be best to hear from you on how you would like that. And maybe that consists of hearing from other folks, other funded partners on what sort of jobs, what sort of roles that they have and staff roles that they have at their organization. And so we want to make sure that we are providing, again, that support in the way that you need it. And so you would just, again, complete the same thing for the second objective as well that you've listed in your work plan. And it's as easy as that. And so I say it's as easy as that. And you as we're on this call, you might think it's fairly easy and you might go back, just like same thing happens when I'm working on things. I might go back and I'm like, wait, actually, I'm a little confused. Again, you're more than welcome to reach out to us to be able to ask any questions, and we'll have some follow-up opportunities as well. Again, I will always encourage all of our funded partners to go ahead and be to just share with us proactively. If we're looking to have these completed and submitted over to this to the center by September 30th, so end of the month. If you need more time on that, I'll be on this deliverable and on any deliverables. I encourage you to reach out to us before the deadline. We'll include this language in our email too. But again, it's always great to hear from you before the deadline instead of a few days after, a week after, or when we have to reach out to you to see, hey, is everything okay? So I can let you know that we're pretty friendly here at the center, and we're very understanding that things come up. Always sometimes unexpectedly, sometimes planned. And so it's always good to hear that and hear proactively from you all. So pause there for any questions. And I see one question in the chat right now: would access to trainers, training materials around social justice development or trauma-informed practice be an area that y'all might be able to support? Yes, this is music to our ears. We're more than happy to provide support on social justice youth development, as well as trauma-informed practices, healing-centered practices, and so we'll look to also have a series of technical assistance trainings. And so again, I encourage you to really think about the support that you all need and include that. And if you have any questions, again, if you're like, I don't know if this is going to be provided, just ask us, send us a quick email. You're always more than welcome to email me. I encourage you to email, also copy the EYC email, Elevate Youth CA, and which we'll have later on the slide, on any email that comes to any of our team members. And so just in case if someone misses something or one of our team members is able to get it quicker, that just makes sure that there's at least another person or another email that's copied on there. Another question that was asked was, will we have access to this training? And Latajane has again answered it before I can even get to it. Thanks, Latajane. So just as a friendly reminder, this webinar will be recorded and posted to our website, and so will the slide deck. as well as we'll be looking to send out an email today or early tomorrow for or with the TA plan and the work plan templates, and going to have an additional information on submitting that as well. Any additional questions? Okay, well, seeing none, and again, you're more than welcome to continue asking them. We'll go over just some important reminders on the next slide. As I mentioned previously, grant agreements are going to be shared for signature via DocuSign this month. So you'll receive an email directly from DocuSign or the person who is listed on your application. Mostly those are executive directors or CEOs. And so that individual will receive an email. Again, it will be coming from DocuSign. If you haven't used it, it'll share that, it'll have the attachment, and you open it up and don't need any other sort of platform or applications. You'll go ahead and open it up, and it'll open up a link on your browser, and you'll go ahead and just sign it there. And then you'll get a copy of it once it's, you'll automatically get a copy of it once it's signed. And so again, we're expecting to get those out within the next week, but in case any hiccups occur, they will be shared with you before the end of this month. And again, payments will be made after we receive payment from this state. So the Department of Healthcare Services, we're still waiting on that payment. And so it might take a little bit of time. So we are trying to get that over to you as soon as possible, but we just wanted to let you know and share that now too. We will be also sharing a communication toolkit. It says it's been shared. We had hoped to get it out to you this morning, but with some hiccups and the changes needed to kind of come to this new link for this webinar, we didn't get it out to you, but we'll be sharing that today as well. And again, just as a friendly reminder, the TA plan and work plan are due September 30th. Again, if you foresee any sort of issues with completing that by that time, please let us know. We're more than happy to go ahead and to get that. And so additionally, it's not listed on here. We're going to go ahead and drop the Elevate Youth California link to sign up for our monthly newsletter. We share those on the 15th of each month. We'll go ahead and also include that link in a future email as well, but feel free to click on the link and go ahead and sign up, and also share it very openly with those who are on those staff members who are on this program at your organization. It's always good to be able to directly receive that. That way, at least the executive directors or the leadership doesn't have to constantly forward that. We have no limitations on how many, or not that I know of yet, any limitations on how many we can get subscribed to our newsletter, but we share resources, we share upcoming webinars, technical assistance series. We share work that our partners are doing. So we try to highlight the work and success that our partners have. So we also have that as well. And so again, we do anticipate that this next newsletter will be coming out around the 15th. And so each month we try to do that. And if you would like any of your work to be shared in the newsletter, or if you have any, or if like you get any media coverage on any of your work that you're doing related to Elevate Youth California, feel free to share it with us. And even if it's not media coverage, if it's something that you feel is a pretty big win for you all or a successful event, feel free to share it with us. We love to highlight our partners on our social media pages as well as in our newsletter, so others can learn about the amazing work that you're doing. I think that's all of our important reminders for now. Again, we're going to go on this next slide. We have all of our contact information. Again, I always encourage you, no matter whom you're emailing here at the center, to always copy Elevate Youth CA at SHF Center. This way, if it does get missed by anyone directly, it's in our inbox there, and a number of us have that email, so we'll be able to look at that and make sure that you're responded to. Any documents, anything that you share, always copy that Elevate Youth CA at shfcenter.org email address, and we look forward to receiving. Well, one, you'll need to get the work plan and the TA plan. So as soon as we share that with you, we'll look forward to answering any questions that you may have this month related to both of these plans, as well as any questions that you have about Elevate Youth California in general. And then we'll be following up. And so with each of our partners after submitting your work plans on any changes or any edits and things of that sort. And so again, we do plan for this to be an iterative process. So, as soon as you share those plans, we'll review them. If we have any input or edits or comments on them, we'll go ahead and share those back with you all to go ahead and before we finalize them and approve them as well. And so with that, this concludes today's webinar on the work plan and the TA plan for our capacity building cohort. And again, a huge congratulations to each of you for being selected in this inaugural cohort for our capacity building partners for Elevate Youth California. We're so excited to be working with you all for at least the next 2 years. And again, please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions.